guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for you all. Before I get to the actual lesson, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any videos when I put them out. Consider joining the channel where I post exclusive lessons, exclusive content, and just a whole bunch of random stuff basically. But also videos, extended videos based off of the existing videos that's already on YouTube on this platform. Okay, so I wanted to talk about a few technical things that you can use your thumb for when you play the bass. I'm not going to talk about slap or double thumping and all that for two simple reasons. I'm not great at it. Actually, I'm not even that good at it to begin, not even great. And two, there's plenty of good resources if you want to check that stuff out. But one thing I started to do over the years is that I started to adapt my thumb a lot to many situations when I play. And a lot of it were quite accidental by nature. So the first and most obvious application of using a thumb is, of course, to slap. But then in the same vein, you can think of just playing your bass with your thumb, right? A lot of great bass players do that. Sting does that quite a bit, where he plays with his thumb. And one of the reasons you would do that is, let's say if you're playing and singing and if you just have to play bass, it puts your hand in a much more relaxed position, actually, when you think about it. You're most relaxed when your wrist is straight. Your thumb is just basically, you put your hand there, that's basically it. So it gives a nice warm and round sound. It's hard to play clean, especially if you try to want to play quicker lines. So it's not practical in that sense. But if you're playing something slow, or if you're playing walking bass lines even, right? So I like to use the thumb to pick, particularly on the bottom end. Okay. The next way you can try to use it is with palm muting, of course. And for palm muting, what I do is I take the side of my hand, I rest it right on the saddle of my bridge. Okay, so let me turn around so you can get a decent view of it. Right there. So that's the saddles right there. And the reason I do it there is because that's basically as far back as you can go to palm mute. Because if you come up further, this starts to happen. The notes are a little too dead, which is also a cool effect. But you go back, you get more meat to it at least. Okay, so here, same thing. I use the thumb for the bottom strings mostly. Okay, so depending on the tempo, depending on the overall groove, I would use my thumb all the way, and then on occasion use the index and the middle finger. So this is a cool way. You can walk this way too, although it can be a little too dead sounding compared to when you open it, right? So one thing I tend to do quite a bit is where I would play palm mute on the bottom notes and then open up the top. And I don't do this by readjusting my picking hand. I go something like that, for example, where I play and then I'm just playing a B flat major triad. It's all part of the G minor pentatonic basically. So the bottom note is palm muted and the top I open it up, because if you don't, then you have, which also sounds great, and then you can go up an octave. Very nice effect. So besides this, one other way I use my thumb is if I'm playing, let's say, a C major triad, okay, 2 octaves. usually what happens is that when you want to play it faster, I noticed that my right hand was struggling a lot of times. To keep up with it. So what I started doing was I started using my thumb for the bottom notes. Okay, so this is just my index and middle finger, thumb. Now, in terms of how they sound, there might not be too much of a difference, but in terms of how I feel and how I'm able to execute it, there is a huge difference, because I feel more comfortable using my thumb to play that bottom string, just because my thumb is already there resting, so I might as well use it. So this kind of train of thought started to affect me a lot when I play gigs. And then before I knew it, I would play I would just use my thumb. It's right there. Okay, so no matter what kind of bass line you're playing, you could use your thumb. Of course, there are exceptions to the case where you need to. Let's see if I can use my thumb. Actually, that works. But generally speaking, most of the times we just use index and middle. Okay, so one final way I use my thumb, and this is probably my favorite, is when I play anything that's to do with the disco. I love using my thumb on the bottom string again, because I can avoid unnecessarily using up my energy, right? That's from Super Mario. So now the cool thing with this, I can do this for a long time and not feel tired, because again, my hand's in a fairly neutral position. Okay, as opposed to wow, I've actually gotten so used to using my thumb that I'm not even able to play with my index and middle. Of course, a lot of great bass players don't need to use their thumb. I've always relied on whatever can make my situation with technique as economical as possible, because you don't want to exert too much energy when it comes to playing, right? That's why when you shed, it's nice to kind of sit and try to do things a little differently, right? So one thing I'm actually considering shedding soon is to just kind of work on my double thumb. I don't even have a good sound for it, but I'm curious about it, right? Because usually if I have something like that, I'll go something like that with my thumb and index. Right? So I just wanted to share these few ideas for you to check out with how you can incorporate your thumb into your playing. Okay, so I hope this makes sense and I hope you get something out of this. If you'd like more detailed lessons with regards to how I use my thumb, do let me know. I'd be happy to talk about it. Okay, I'll see you all in the shed until the next one. Peace.